Hello again, YouTube. This is my first episode of what I hope to be an ongoing series on SpongeBob browser games. I figured that I should start at the beginning. This is Run for the Krusty Krab, which is one of the very first SpongeBob video games, and the oldest one that I remember playing as a kid. This released on Nick.com way back in 1999. This actually isn't a Flash game. This runs on Shockwave, which is what Nick used for the first few online games. They switched to Flash shortly thereafter. Adobe has already discontinued Shockwave, so I did not find any websites that still support a playable version of this game. I still got the game to work, though. I found its DCR file on the Internet Archive, which I downloaded and have played from my desktop. I'll put the link somewhere. Because I'm playing this through a Shockwave player and not in a browser, you can see that the cropping of the frame is a bit off. Usually the game would display only what's within that bamboo frame, and crop off the rest. On my desktop, I actually increased the size of the window so that I can see more. Why did I do that? Well, firstly, it just looks cool. I like to go snooping around where I'm not supposed to see. It's a sort of behind-the-scenes look. Also, the wider field of view gives me a slight tactical advantage. Some of the obstacles spawn outside of the game's usual bounds, and I can see them coming earlier than I otherwise would. That's enough of the technical trivia, though. You viewers probably want to hear about the gameplay. Let me tell you, this game has some very rich gameplay. There are 6 major actions in this game. To walk, I press right on the arrow keys. To run, I hold right. I can stop moving by pressing left. To change direction and walk towards house left, I hold the left key. It's also up to jump and down to duck. The controls are awful, by the way. There's an input delay on every action. I also have no control over SpongeBob while he's jumping. He has 2 predefined jump arcs, one for a walking jump and one for a running jump. I also can't immediately stop after landing. SpongeBob can jump again, or take a few steps and then stop. Sound design is generally pretty poor, but I suppose that it's par for a 90s browser game. The main music is just a 4-second loop. The bubbling sound that SpongeBob makes when he walks is very annoying. Sometimes it continues when I'm stopped. I still haven't figured out the rules of walking. Sometimes he takes a few steps and then stops, until I hit right again. Other times he continues to walk until I cancel it out with another action. SpongeBob makes this awful noise when he ducks. I don't know what that's supposed to represent. Maybe it's the sound of him squeezing his bodily fluids out of his spongy tissue. It sounds about as uncomfortable as that might feel for a sponge. That marquee at the bottom appears through the whole game. Watch SpongeBob SquarePants on Nickelodeon. That's an oddity of early Nick games. Later games don't beat you over the head with branding nearly as much. Or at least, they don't spell it out like that. I don't even know what some of these obstacles are supposed to be. This green thing looks like a very oblique vintage scuba helmet, and we have a sort of wooden hurdle on stilts. This game basically has 3 different art styles, which interface with each other. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs look approximately how they appear in the show. The background and some of the obstacles look like someone drew them with crayons. I actually very much like that style. These early Shockwave games have low resolution, but a rich color palette. The crayon style makes good use of limited technical specs. There's a lot of texture. Even the background looks almost seamless, despite being a small recurring unit. Then there's that drifting Medusozoan, which looks unlike anything else that I've seen in the SpongeBob diaspora. Look at its twitchy tentacles. It's just completely different from how they look in the show. Out of curiosity, I did some research on the various species of Medusozoans. I wanted to divine the origin of the design as it appears in this game. I think that it bears some resemblance to the blue blubber jelly, which is endemic to the northern coast of Australia. That's actually near Bikini Atoll, the reef and lagoon for which Bikini Bottom bears its name. I actually don't know how long this game is. It probably has at least 10 levels, since the level counter is in double digits. I definitely won't be getting to level 10 when the game only gives me 3 lives. I've seen other playthroughs on YouTube, and none of them get past level 3. As I've played over this game a few times, I kept expecting the Krusty Krab to appear at some point. I've since realized that the actual building doesn't appear. If you read under Help in the title menu, it says that you move on to the next level when SpongeBob reaches the Krusty Krab. When he meets Mr. Krabs, that symbolizes him getting to work. That sucks. I wanted to see the building. It's in the title. Those small rocks are weird. Sometimes they appear at the edge of the frame, or even within it. Other times they appear way out in the white space. See that? That's some death sound effect. It sounds like metal clashing. Then he just drifts away like a ghost. SpongeBob is dead. RIP.